from here on, and let me start with the remaining component of the lecture, which I refer as cell structure. So the two things which I want you people to know about the cells is the lysosomes and the vacuoles. Vacuoles is some sort of a vacant space within the cell. It's a kind of a vacant space within the cell. And lysosomes are also a sort of small vesicles. They are small spheres present within the cell, which contains many important chemicals, enzymes, and ingredients executing definite functions, which I will going to share with you, and their job. Particularly, the lysosomes, they contains hydrolytic enzymes. If you can recall your knowledge about the proteins and enzymes, enzymes are the biocatalyst. They are the ones who can catalyze a metabolic chemical reaction. They can help in the execution of a chemical reaction within life. They are biocatalyst. Now, there are several enzymes which are responsible for the breakdown of the chemical components, which are responsible for the conversion of big complicated molecules into simpler one. There are certain enzymes which are responsible to convert the big molecules into simpler ones. Just recall more, the proteins, when they are broken down, they will be converted into smaller ones, and those smaller fragments are called as amino acids, because proteins are made up of amino acids. On the other hand, when the carbohydrates are broken down into simpler ones, they will be converted into sugars or glucose. More accurately, more specifically, most of them are converted into glucose, because most carbohydrates are made up of glucose. The enzymes which are responsible for such breakdown, they are called as hydrolytic enzymes or digestive enzymes. So those are the enzymes, the functional biocatalyst, which are responsible to break down the big molecules into simpler ones. ठीक है, ये हमारे पास भी होते हैं और cells के पास भी होते हैं. You might be wondering why a cell need that thing. Because sometimes a cell required to eat, but not sometimes, sorry, the cell always required to eat. Whenever cells capture a food material or a bad thing, sometimes they capture the microorganism, sometimes they capture a foreign material, a food, or a damaged cellular material. So the cell needs to get rid of that material. The cell needs to consume that material. In order to consume that material, the cell needs a specialized structure called lysosomes, which contains hydrolytic enzymes. Those hydrolytic enzymes can convert the big molecules present in that food into simpler one. And this process is called as digestion. The same things we are doing in our digestive system, but in a more organized way, in a more complex way. It's like eating of the cells. Cells can eat a food material, and then lysosomes helps the cells to break down those food material into simpler one and absorb them. And then whatever the material was left over, it is expelled from the cell. And this is some sort of digestion, we call as digestions. How cells are able to do that thing? Let me try to draw just to how cells are able to absorb the things. For example, this is the surface of the cell. Oh my God, I am not able to draw perfectly, but this is the surface of the cells. This is the food particle, this one. This is the food particles. मुझे drawing pen लेना चाहिए. Okay, I will. Food particle. When this food particle or that touches or the any foreign material like remains of a cellular component touches the cell membrane. This is the outer surface of the cell. The cell membrane moves inward like this. The cell membrane moves inward. So this is the bad thing. Oh, sorry, this is the food material. When it touches the cell membrane invaginates. This invagination grows, the inward movement grows like this, grows further, and eventually making an independent vesicle within the cell, enclosing that food material. So this is the food material, this is the food material, enclosed in that chamber. Okay, that is how the cell membrane managed to engulf a food particle. This process is called as endocytosis. इसको हम अलग से पढ़ेंगे लेकिन इधर ही पढ़ा गया समझो. This is called as endocytosis, capturing the food. After that, once it is there, now this is called a food vacuole. This thing is now called as the food vacuole. Now that food vacuole contains a material which is not easily absorbed by the cell because it contains big complex molecules. It is required to be broken down. It is required to be digested. It needs chemicals which are present where? Those chemicals are present in another vesicle, and that vesicle is called as lysosome. So this is the lysosome. This is the lysosome. It contains hydrolytic material. It contains hydrolytic materials. This lysosome then merge with the food vacuole. Next. Okay, these two merge together. The food vacuole merge with the lysosome. So that food material is then exposed to the hydrolytic materials of the lysosomes. Those hydrolytic materials break down the food present here into simpler one, and after that, that food, once it is broken down into simpler one, it is absorbed by the cytoplasm and it is available to be utilized in the cellular functions and activities. ऐसे काम. Whatever left in that vacuole, undigested material, waste, gunpowder, whatever left there, now whatever the material left here is the undigested material. The cells fail to break that material. The cells is no longer able to absorb that material. That material is expelled outside the cell through a similar process which is exactly reverse the endocytosis. Yeah, the endocytosis touches the cell membrane, invagination, and then engulfing and capturing the food. That process is entirely reverse than this one. आप guess कर सकते हैं क्या होगा? मैं यहाँ draw करता हूँ दोबारा से. So this is the waste product now, food vacuole, with the material which is not able, the cell is not able to digest. It absorbs all the good material, and this is the waste. Now this waste is required to be expelled. So here is the waste material. What will happen? It touches the cell membrane in the first go. It touches the cell membrane with the waste material here, and then the cell membrane opens up like this. And this process is entirely reverse than the other process of endocytosis, and the waste product is then expelled outside the cell like this. This mechanism is called as exocytosis, sending things outside. The two are same but in the reverse way. But we are studying lysosomes, so you can guess the job of the lysosome is to provide chemicals, to provide hydrolytic enzymes which can break down those material, and then we can use that material for the cellular functions. अगर ये कार्बोहाइड्रेट हुआ, that material, if that material is carbohydrate, it will be converted into glucose. That glucose will be used in the cellular respiration, एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन के लिए माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया में इस्तेमाल हो जाए. If that food material is made up of protein, that will be converted into amino acids. Those amino acids can be used to create building structures within the cell. If that material is lipid, that is converted into fatty acids, the smaller fragments. Those smaller fragments can be used to build cell membrane and other structures within the cell. So that is how life proceed with the food. So this is the job of the lysosomes. The next
Sir,
is
जो
the
lysosomes हैं,
शाबाश,
जो lysosomes हैं वो undigested material के लिए restricted नहीं है, खाली नहीं है ना वो उसके लिए restricted bad material के लिए वो
food
जो
जी शाबाश.
सर ये lysosomes सिर्फ bad material के लिए restricted नहीं है ना, खाली इनका और भी function है कि अगर अच्छा मटेरियल आ रहा है तो फिर वो
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल फॉर द
उसको
फूड
ब्रेक
एज
डाउन
वेल.
करने में.
देखो एक नियर बाई किसी सेल की डेथ हुई है ना, उस सेल का जो स्ट्रक्चर है वो टूट फूट गया है, इट कैन बी एब्जॉर्ब बाय द नियर बाई सेल्स.
ओके,
वो उसको भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. अगर कोई बैड मटेरियल है, बैक्टीरिया है, इफ अ बैक्टीरिया इज एबल टू touch the cell membrane, the cell membrane can eat that bacteria in this way. It can digest that bacteria in this way. ठीक हो गया?
जी जी, thank you so much sir.
Good. Usually the material in the lysosome is very toxic. It's like hydrolytic enzymes as well as some acids which can destroy those materials very easily. The next is the vacuoles or vesicles. They are generally a name given to an open space within the cytoplasm. It's like an open sac, it's like an open vesicle, an open chamber. It has different sizes depending on the nature of the cell. Usually it contains water. Sometimes they store digestive enzymes in case of lysosomes. But generally, the vacuoles, their job is to store water. In plant cells, the vacuole size is very small. The size of the vacuole is very small. They can store water and salts. In case of plants, the plants contains a big vacuole at the center. Whenever you Google the picture of the plant and animal cell, you try to compare the animal and plant cells. I think we have the same picture in the earlier slides. You can see a big vacuole present within the plant cell. And that is why the nucleus of the plant cell is a little bit pushed towards the boundary. This one, like this blue one, is a very big, large central vacuole. It pushes the other structures of the cells of the cytoplasm to a corner. In case of animals, animals do possess small, little, many vacuoles. Look at that. Look at that. This one is the plant cell. And can you see a big blue color vacuole present within the plant cell? And all the other structures, chloroplast and nucleus and Golgi complex, they are pushed towards the cell membrane and near the cell wall. The animal cells do possess small ones. Okay, so this is what we have studied. This is all we have studied about the cell. So I am open to talk about any of the thing. If you want to add you should be able to understand the function of nucleus, chloroplast, Golgi complex, ribosomes, and plasmid reticulum, vacuole, lysosomes, and mitochondria. I will be very happy if you somehow decipher the function of each of them. I will be very happy actually. Okay, so this is the formal end of this lecture, but it's from here on I will be looking for your questions and I will try to answer them.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question, sir.
जी sir. समझ जोर से बोलिएगा, ठीक है, मेरी तरह.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a question that what's the difference between mitochondria and mitochondrion? Is it singular and plural difference, or there is some other difference as well?
Yes,
yes. We can see mitochondrion is being mentioned.
Yeah, you have already answered the question.
Okay, so mitochondrion is the
one unit,
singular one.
One unit of mitochondria. It's like 1 unit of mitochondria is called as mitochondrion.